Today, I'm going to try to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Black with only Psychic-type Pokemon. And I think this is going to be quite a challenge, probably why it's never been legitimately completed before on YouTube. Yes, Psychic types were definitely overpowered in the Generation 1 days, but since then there's been quite a challenge posed by the addition of Dark and Steel. And of course, Bug types growing ever more powerful. Not only that, but this run doesn't offer too many encounters with only 5 viable ones on the surface, but there is a hidden bonus encounter we can get to help out. Definitely a cool roster though, with some Pokemon that I've never used before, so let's see if we can beat Pokemon Black with only the first Psychic type we find on each route, no items in battle, level caps in place, and the battle mode put on set at all times. Before we jump into it, let me try some of my own psychic powers. You're sick of having a bulky, bland wallet that you have to struggle to get things out of, and you're also tired of fumbling your keys around on a messy keychain. Well, today's video sponsor, The Ridge, has revolutionized my day-to-day with the incredibly sleek Ridge wallet. I got the matte black titanium design, and this thing is wickedly sturdy and holds up to 12 easy-to-access cards, and has a cash flip on the back to store some hard money safely. The wallet even has RFID blocking technology to protect you from digital pickpocketers. I never thought I'd have a wallet that's so compact and genuinely fun to use, and if you're looking for a particular design, well, they've got over 30 colors and styles, including ones like carbon fiber and burnt titanium. And that's not all, as you can couple it with a Ridge key case like my carbon fiber one. I thought I was stuck with mere keychains forever, but how about this thing, holding up to 6 keys steadily without them dangling everywhere, and just flip them around to use them. If you're looking to upgrade your pockets, get the best offer with link ridge.com/sylph. And right now you can save up to 40% through December 22nd. That's ridge.com/sylph. Enjoy the deal. Alright, here we go, Pokemon Black, what I would consider to be the first reboot of the franchise. Hello, Professor Juniper, what's up? I'm gonna introduce you to your best friends. Oh, thanks. I've never met them before. Now we have a bit of a problem in that our first viable encounter isn't available until after the first gym. So what we're gonna do is use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to make that encounter our starter, Munna. We immediately get thrown into battles with our rivals, and let me tell you, these were brutal, as we only have Psywave, which at our current level does between 5 and 7.5 HP damage every turn. Not much at all, and we barely scraped by. Just like the structural integrity of our house, apparently. I end up naming our Munna Judy, and Judy has a quirky, neutral nature, so no buffs or nerfs on our stats. I'll take it. After getting some Pokeballs from Juniper, our run has officially begun, and wait a minute. Bianca just said that she wants to buy some? What the hell? Imagine getting like a Christmas gift from someone and immediately saying to their face, I actually wanted more than what you gave me, so I'm gonna purchase more of this item later without you. Ah, the beautiful fall season, probably my favorite time of the year, he says, as there's already snow on the ground in Canada. And this really makes me wish that all Pokemon games had kept the seasonal changes. In no time we arrive in Accumula Town, and, well, I had a rough realization about the battle that we're meant to have with N shortly. He has a Purloin, and our only attacking move is a Psychic one, and we don't learn any non-Psychic moves by level up until after the current level cap either. So, there's only one solution. Getting prepared, I hit up the Pokemon Center, and after I buy 11 potions, we can no longer use this place to heal. Why, you might ask? That's right, we have to stall out all our power points against wild Pokemon. Thankfully, we did learn Yawn though, which allows me to avoid getting hit and waste our power points. If there's one thing I'm thankful about here, it's that we have moves like Yawn, Defense Curl, and also Lucky Chant to prevent critical hits. It's probably one of the better setups that you could do this with. I try to use exclusively level 2 Pokemon so we don't risk getting KO'd during the process. A while later, after wasting 95 power points in total, we reach Struggle. Getsus and his crew end up throwing a massive town celebration in honor of our PP achievements, and it's time for our battle with N. I've always advocated for him as being one of the coolest characters in the franchise, so I just don't know why he has to do me like this. Now, the problem here is that Struggle does a quarter of your HP in recoil damage, and we're gonna get hit too. I calculated this thoroughly, and there's a chance we could get by here, but it's gonna be close no matter what. If he uses Growl though, it's over, as we'll do less damage but get the same recoil. He goes for Scratch first turn, then Struggle does... uh-oh. That kinda looks like a quarter, doesn't it? He hits us again, and we hit him, but it seems to be doing the right amount now. However, he then hits us to just 10 HP. We hit him one last time for the KO, but then the recoil brings us to just one singular HP. Oh man, the absolute relief and elation I had at this moment, no words can describe. While moving onward, we get to level 11, at which point Judy actually gets a good psychic move, Psybeam. Let's go. And thank God we got it when we did, as ahead on Route 2, I forgot there's a battle with Bianca that gets triggered. Oh no. She leads with a Lillipup, and I have like 2/3 health, and we get smacked down below half instantly, but Judy's power is enough to take him down in one hit. In comes Snivy next, and it goes for Leer before Psybeam just barely doesn't take it out in the red. She then potions as we bring her to just a sliver, and then she goes for Vine Whip, but Judy eats it pretty well and takes her down for the victory. Sheesh, we gotta be more careful. With that, we arrive at the location of the first gym, Striaton City. Now, I was feeling pretty good here, but then realized, oh god, we have a battle with Charon in the trainer school, and yup, it's even worse than N. He has a Purloin, yes, but that's on top of his starter. So it's a ridiculous PowerPoint waste grind again, during which we hit level 13, which I know we'll need. Except this time, I leave 2 Psybeam PowerPoints. I'm sure you can guess why. Charon leads with his Oshawott, thankfully. Seriously, if his Pokemon were reversed, not a chance. And Psybeam just barely doesn't KO on a sliver, which is a good thing, before his berry activates and he hits a tackle. Then we can hit another to take him down, at which point we have now used all our power points as his Purloin then comes out. Now this was quite a miracle, as he used the assist move which gave him Tail Whip, nerve-wracking yes, but then he goes for Growl too. Not good, but we're still doing enough damage now that he's in a low range. It all depends if he hits us now. But he goes for Growl again, allowing us to smash him into the ground and survive on 8 HP after recoil. I can't tell you how tense these PP stall battles are. Everything depends on them. For winning, we get some Oran berries at least. Great, as berries are very hard to come by in this game. With that win under our belt, we can finally hit up the Striaton gym. Boy, does it ever feel nice to actually be able to take on trainers, although the Patrats with Bite can be a little bit scary, but at level 14, Judy has enough power to one-shot the— oh, okay, nope, there's a Purloin. Yup. Yet another PowerPoint grind was necessary for the final trainer, but I used Wild Purloin to help out, as we can waste non-effective Psybeam on them, and I had left one Psybeam to take down her Patrat, and thankfully her Purloin actually went for Sand Attack twice. Evidently Waitress Tia doesn't know that Struggle bypasses accuracy checks, hitting us with one scratch before we take her down, and survive the battle on just 7 HP. Drained and feeling at the end of my wits, we finally get the privilege of facing the gym leader, and for us it's gonna be Crest. Let's see how our first real battle goes. He leads with a Lillipup and goes for Workup right away to raise his attack, and then Psybeam does about 3/4 on him. He then uses a potion before we hit him down to the red this time, and he lands a powered up Bite which does nearly half on us. Ouch. We can then take him down with our next attack though. In comes his ace, Panpour, and he hits a water gun to bring us to just 20 HP, but then our Oranberry activates. Psybeam hits him for just less than half unfortunately, and then he hits us below half again before we hit him to just a sliver. Even a crit wouldn't take us down from that range though, and we survive his next attack before landing a final one of our own for the knockout and the win. Man, it's amazing what can happen when you can actually attack opposing Pokemon. First badge acquired. Upon leaving the gym, we have a pivotal moment as we go to meet Fennel, who is actually going to be the key to our next encounter, believe it or not. Before that though, we had to do our damn Purloin PowerPoint strat 2 more times, at which point I am absolutely dying. But we arrived to the Dream Yard afterward. Now this is where our first encounter Muna would have been, although now there's just 2 Plasma Grunts kicking the shit out of my hypothetical encounter. Huh, the multiverse is a weird place. After saving the Muna, we can head back to Fennel's lab to get a crucial feature, item, I don't know what to call it, the Sea Gear. This is going to unlock our next encounter, as only using this can we access the Dream World, a place you can send your Pokemon to basically get different Pokemon that you can't normally get in the real world. There are a few options for Psychic types, but ultimately we have the Rugged Mountain as a default area. Kind of funny actually, you need 8 badges in the Black 2 and White 2 sequels to access it, where we can get none other than a Beldum, who I nicknamed David, and who has an impish plus defense and minus special attack nature. Wicked, and it also has an incredible default moveset too. Finally, we now have a way to take on stupid dark types, and good timing too, as we had to do a double battle against 2 Purloin. I never want to see one of those things ever again. Our encounters aren't over yet though, as up ahead we arrive at the Wellspring Cave. Here we can find a Woobat who I catch and nickname Burton. Burton ends up having a jolly plus speed and minus special attack nature. Half good, half bad, but at least has unaware, which is much better than Klutz, I'll tell you that much. Here we can also grab the Thief TM to get some type boosting items later on, and I have a special use in mind for it later down the road. We quickly arrive in Nacrene City where the next gym is, and at the entrance Charon ends up giving us some Chesto berries. Not bad. Before we enter the gym, we're interrupted by N though, and I'm feeling like some serious revenge is needed. He leaves with a P-dub this time, and I decide to test out Burton. He hits us with a quick attack for not much damage before Confusion does nearly half. He hits us again, but then our next Confusion gets a higher range to KO. From there, we then duked it out with his Timpole too, with him hitting us with Bubble Beams, but 3 Confusions ends up doing the job with us at 14 HP. His final Pokemon is Timber, and it's feeling quite risky here, so I go into Judy, but he just went for Focus Energy followed by a Leer on the next turn, so we blast him into oblivion with a Psybeam for the win. Much better than last time. The Nacrene Gym is upon us, and okay, the last thing I came here for was a museum tour, you weirdo. The trainers in here were overall manageable, but it turns out they even have things like Patrat with 80 power super effective Crunch, so we did have to be a bit careful. Thankfully, Beldum isn't weak to Dark due to his Steel typing, so that was very helpful. Along the way, right at the level cap, we have an Unreal evolution as David evolves into a Metang. What a beastly upgrade. It's time for the second gym leader, Lenora, the normal type trainer. Now, one thing that's a bit complicated is that she leads with a Herdier with Intimidate, meaning I have to send out a special attacker first, so Judy it is. She goes for Leer to lower our defense, and then I hit a Yawn since it no longer has Vital Spirit. From there, she uses Leer again, not complaining, as Psybeam hits but doesn't even do half. With her now asleep, I can switch into David though and land a Wicked Power Iron Head for the immediate KO. Let's go. In comes her ace, Watchog. She goes for Leer again off the bat, and then Iron Head doesn't even do half. Every time. She then hits us with Crunch, which does a decent amount, and then I go for Zen Headbutt for more power, but it's still not enough, as she then Super Potions. Iron Head then brings her to 2/3 again, but she outspeeds with Hypnosis, hits it, and puts us to sleep, and I could have sworn I attached a Chesto Berry as planned, but evidently not. Oh no. Crunch then hits us below half, but miraculously we wake up, but can't quite KO. She then goes for Hypnosis again, and I was like, no! But she missed, opening up a path for victory as we get the knockout. Whew, that was way more hectic than expected. As if that wasn't crazy enough, when trying to leave the gym, we run into Team Plasma who have infiltrated the museum and... What the fuck? As the lone survivors of that ordeal, Lenora and I escape to Pinwheel Forest. With Lenora severely injured, she has one last request of us. This Moonstone, take it. It will save you all. If only you should learn to use it. Okay, well that was dramatic. This is a fantastic item for us though, as we can evolve Munna with it, but for now we're gonna wait for a specific level up move we can only get from Munna itself. With that, it's time to traverse the Sky Arrow Bridge, and in the gate we can grab the Quick Claw item before then arriving in the busy core of Castelia City. Cleaning up a janitor in battle nets us another crucial item, the XP share, good for remaining below the level cap and getting more EVs than we could otherwise by attaching it on an HM Mon. In one of the buildings we also find the Massage Girl, who I have give Burton a massage to hasten his friendship evolution, and we can also pick up the Rest TM2 on the floor above. A quick trip up north brings us to Route 4 where I run around frantically finding some Pokemon that we haven't seen before, as this is a requirement for probably one of the best items of all, the Eviolite, which we can get from this scientist after having seen 30 Pokemon in our Pokedex, and which upgrades the defenses of non-fully evolved Pokemon. The Castelia Gym is upon us, and I decide to give Burton the Eviolite for now, as he helps a lot with his flying super effectiveness against bugs. Not only that, but he also learned Air Cutter for more power, running through the trainers like crazy, and even being able to take down the part rock type Dwebble too with the defense increases. Now you might wonder at this point, alright, why is Sylph running around like an absolute psychopath? Well, apparently Burton enjoys this, as merely walking around helps his friendship levels. Oh, and he especially enjoys the parts where we slam into the wall for some reason. Now that the whole city knows I'm a crazy person, Burton is satisfied and blesses us with his evolution. Swoobat, quite a powerful Pokemon to get this early on. With Burton's power-ups in hand, it's time to take on the third gym leader, Berg, the Bug Specialist. He has quite a bulky lead, Whirlipede, as I lead with Burton. Air Cutter does about 3/4 before he slams us with Poison Tail, but Burton eats it up and lands a Confusion on the next turn for better accuracy to ensure the KO. In comes Dwebble next, quite a threat with its part rock typing, but I stay in and go for Air Cutter, but we miss and Smackdown hits us hard below half already. We then land our next one for over half as he hits us again, and we survive on just 8 HP before we can land our next attack to take him down. Oh man. In comes his final Pokemon, his ace, Leavanny. Now, I had a bit of a decision to make here as Air Cutter is 95% accuracy, but it's a 4x super effective stab move that would handle what can be a big threat otherwise, so I go for it, and the risk pays off as we get the immediate KO for our third badge. Alright, that Dwebble was a monster. Heading to the Route 4 gate, Did you see that? Get the f*** out of my way. In the gate, we have a battle with Bianca, and I think I have a good plan here. She leads with an Intimidate Herdier, so I go with Judy to take it, then switch into David with the Eviolite attached, who just absorbs the resisted takedown with ease. From there, I kid you not, David went on a complete rampage, alternating between Iron Head and Zen Headbutts to take down her Herdier, Servine, and Munna, resisting almost all of their typings and only getting hit for a third in part due to Leech Seed. Eviolite Metang is a beast, what can I say? But the threat isn't over yet as Charon challenges us to battle on Route 4 and I'm a bit more nervous about this one. At least we can lead with David this time against his P-Dove, and Ironhead doesn't quite take it out as he lands an Air Cutter, then another does the job. The one good thing here being that as a Steel type, David doesn't get hurt by the Sandstorm. In comes his Duat next, and Zen Headbutt does just less than half before Razor Shell doesn't do much, then the Sandstorm activates his Berry. It's a slugfest from there, but we do get a crit with Zen Headbutt eventually to KO him as we level up. However, in comes his Panseer next, and with super effective fire moves, I play it safe by switching into Burton, who eats Flame Burst well. Air Cutter then does more than half, but he lands a Yawn. Not good at all. Nothing is safe to switch though, so I take him down with another before we fall asleep, but in comes Liepard. Now the problem here is, I cannot stay in while we're asleep, and couldn't get Judy out here for 2 pursuits either, so we just have to hope we can survive a double power one as we switch. And we do on just 7 HP, escaping by a hair. Then David can handle him from there with an Iron Head after being brought right to half by another pursuit. Damn, that was close. One of the houses ahead nets us the Dig TM, which would be great if David could learn it. Heading north and we arrive at the Desert Resort, which is actually where our next encounter is located, but we have to head into the actual desert part to find it as it's only available there. It takes a little while, but eventually we find it, a Sigilyph, which I catch and nickname Escher. Escher has a serious neutral nature and the Wonder Skin ability not quite as good as Magic Guard, but it cuts the accuracy of status moves to 50%. Pretty cool. A few great items await us in the sand too, like the Rock Tomb TM, the Black Glasses to boost dark moves, and also the Soft Sand to do the same for ground move. After that haul, we arrive in Nimbasa City where the next gym is, and heading to the Pokemon Center we find out that there are a bunch of great TMs for sale there, but we need some more money first. Shiny Krokorok, I wonder what colors they are. Spoiler alert, piss yellow. Heading east towards one of the gates, we get another great thing, the Macho Brace to double the EVs gained on the holder. Great to sneak some more in. Oh, come on. I'm already ridiculously nervous about heights, and you're just gonna drop that bombshell while we're up here? Now, I wasn't ready for this end battle at all, so I'm a bit worried here. He leads with a Sandile, and I don't really have a choice, so I put David out there. Ironhead just barely doesn't KO, and then he uses Sand Tomb, which does a decent chunk of damage before another one KOs him. But in comes Darumaka next. Nothing we have can tank 2 fire punches from this thing, but I know David with his impish nature and the Eviolite should be able to survive one. But his ability, Hustle, which raises his attack at the cost of accuracy, causes him to miss it anyway, giving us a lucky free pass to take him down. From there, Scraggy comes in, and I take the opportunity to switch into Burton to tank Brick Break with ease, then one-hit KO him with the Air Cutter. His final Pokemon is Sigilyph, as it's a war of flying and psychic types apparently, but we do have Assurance, which does about a third, and we're ultimately able to outdo his Air Cutters, taking him down in 3 hits with us at 2/3 left. Not bad. That win grants us access to the Nimbasa Gym, which has quite a cool design, and after teaching David the Rock Tomb TM, he proves quite effective against all the Emolgas in here, hitting them once with it to drop their speed, and then outspeeding on the next turn for the KO. Quite an effective strat. When we don't miss, that is. However, the 4th gym leader is Elisa, the electric expert, and, well, I don't know what it is with Pokemon and having the early game electric gym leaders so difficult, but this battle is looking like madness with her infinitely volt-switching Emolgas and Zebstrika, all of which have ridiculous speed and are fully evolved too. After theory crafting for a while, I'm crossing my fingers for this one. She leads with an Emolga, so I send out Sigilyph. Looks dumb, I know, but she hits a Volt Switch for over half before our berry already, then I get up to Light Screen. With better special defense now, I switch into David, and as expected she went for the double power Pursuit, which we survive in the red, but this allows a free pivot into David now. With the Eviolite and Light Screen, Volt Switch hardly does anything as Zebstrika then comes out. I had used Rock Tomb hoping for the switch into Emolga, but now we hit it to drop its speed, but doesn't do much and we still can't outspeed this thing. Bark then hits us for not much damage before Zen Headbutt brings her to a quarter. Another hit brings us below half, but then we miss our next attack. No way. She hits us again to 18 HP, but we miss again. We could have KO'd it twice already. I have no choice though, so I stay in. We survive on just 2 HP, then we land the hit for the KO. Goodness gracious, this is not good. Now as her Emolga came in, I had a choice to make. I know switching out encourages her AI to use Pursuit, which could hit us before we leave, but we're also within range of a quick attack. I just don't know what it is that she prioritizes, but it ends up being quick attack, so we essentially get a free switch into Burton. Yes, I go for confusion and we outspeed it, but only do a third, and then she gets a crit Pursuit. Are you kidding me? Why is this happening? I go for Air Cutter this time, hoping for the high crit ratio to pull through, but we don't get it, and Pursuit hits us to just 13 HP before we can finally take that damn thing out. In comes her final Emolga, and, well, I'm hoping we can pull off the same as last time now that we're in the red. And we do, as Judy comes in, but she went for Volt Switch instead. What? Our Quick Claw then activates as Psybeam does over half, and then she hits us again to 33 HP. Another attack hits us, and we survive on just 5 HP, land a Psybeam, but she barely survives on a sliver as we got a low range. Oh, but something occurs to me. I know she's gonna heal, so I can use Moonlight to restore our health. Unbelievable, as now we have a back and forth of healing and attacking at select times, and because she used Pursuit a couple times, we end up tipping the balance with 1 power point left, smashing her with a final Psybeam for the win at just 9 HP left in the end. We got so unlucky so many times, but still pulled through Deathless through improvising. Let's go. Judy is truly a magician. Yes, you're very pretty too, David. I wonder who writes the news on the bulletin board. My man out here asking the real questions. Up next is Route 5, where we have another encounter opportunity, but first, a battle with Charon. I'm not gonna lie, this one was relatively manageable, as David could take care of Liepard, then switch into Escher who could handle his Panseer, although we did get put to sleep by Yawn. Duat was definitely the biggest challenge using focus energy and having high crit ratio Razor Shell, but a combination of Burton and David ended up taking him down with just 17 HP left after Water Pulses. A confusion or a miss on Zen Headbutt would have been dangerous, but that allowed us to switch into Escher to handle his Tranquil after waking up on 38 HP left. A big chunk of our team got hurt badly, but I never felt we were hugely in danger. In the grass here we can find a new team member, this time Gothita, which I catch in a heal ball, quite cool, and nicknamed Jane. Jane has a timid nature plus speed and minus attack, quite great actually. Gym leader Elisa then uses the force to lower the drawbridge, allowing us access to Driftveil City, and I forgot that it's only in the sequels that there's a move tutor here. Uh-oh. Regardless, we can grab the expert belt here at least, in addition to the Rocky Helmet item down south in the cold storage, which should come in handy. Alright, hold on. Getsus, Zinzolin, and 9 Plasma Grunts against myself, Charon, and Clay. I can't help but feel that this would actually be a pretty even matchup. Why are we submitting to them? The Driftveil Gym is upon us, and in here I decide to operate with Escher primarily, who performed quite well, especially with the Rocky Helmet attached, as he has some of the best defenses on our team and can hit neutral air cutters for some good damage too. With that, it's time for the 5th gym leader, Clay, the ground type specialist. His team is always dangerous, but I come up with a good plan and go for it. He leads with a Crocorock and I send out Judy. He goes for Swagger off the bat, not what I was expecting, but we make it through to land the Yawn. I know we can survive a non-crit here, and I went for Moonlight in case we can get it off, but our Quick Claw activates so we heal nothing, we hit ourselves in confusion, and then he smashes us down to 9 HP with Crunch. Yikes. I was planning to heal after that hit. Here I switch into Escher though and take the opportunity to use a Reflect to raise our defenses, but then he wakes up and lands a Swagger. We then hit ourselves in confusion again and Crunch hits us to nearly half. We then break through for an Air Cutter on the next turn though, and it barely doesn't KO, but he lands a Crunch, we survive on 20 HP, and then a Rocky Helmet finishes him off. Too good. In comes a big threat though, Excadrill, so I switch into David to tank the resisted Rock Slide. From here, he made a whole bunch of questionable decisions not using Bulldoze repeatedly, so eventually with Rock Smashes lowering his defense, we took him down in 3 attacks, being left with over half. In comes his final Pokemon, Palpitoad, so here I switch in our newly caught Jane as he Aqua Rings. I had taught Jane the Grass Knot move and attached the Miracle Seed both from Pinwheel, so a few attacks with him healing do the job, with us getting hit by a Bulldoze and a Muddy Water in the process. Pretty solid. As always, I forgot about the damn Bianca battle ahead, but setting up with Yawn on Judy and then switching into Escher had us sweep through her entire team with our own sheer bulk and power. So not as bad as it could have been, and not as bad as things that have happened to us in the past here. Up ahead, Clay takes down the web blocking the cave entrance and gives us the Bulldoze TM, a ground move that David can actually learn. Heading through Chargestone Cave, we had a great upgrade as David actually ended up learning Stab Priority Bullet Punch. Wicked. After teaching him the Bulldoze TM, we also fought N again, and with a steel-heavy team, David was a lifesaver. It was quite a long battle, but repeatedly slamming his Pokemon with Bulldoze was fruitful as we emerged victorious. That win allows us to enter Mistralton City, a peaceful town where the next gym is located. Before anything, I make sure to pick up the Sharp Beak, great for our 2 flying Pokemon. I then go ahead to Route 7 as there's a couple things I want up here. Also, I don't know how I never registered this before. I'm making a delicious soup with well-stewed vegetables. Since her yammering stops when she's cooking, it's another bonus for me. Goodness gracious, what a savage. Here we can grab the Charge Beam TM, which I have a sneaky plan for. The Celestial Tower up ahead has an Unreal Haul for us too, as not only can we get the Spell Tag to boost Ghost moves, but we also have another evolution as Jane evolves into a Gothorita. We can also grab the Shadow Claw TM here, and our next encounter too, which ends up being an Elgium, which I nicknamed Fortuna. Fortuna has a lonely plus attack and minus defense nature, which is meh. This thing has like no speed, so I think I'm gonna raise her as a bulky special attacker. The Mistralton Gym is next, and with the Eviolite on Judy, I had also taught her the Charge Beam TM, and she blows through the trainers quite handily with this setup. But at level 35, she learns Calm Mind, meaning we don't need the Eviolite anymore as Judy evolves into a bulky yet powerful Musharna. Amazing. I make sure to fly back to Driftvale too now that we've seen 50 Pokemon, as we can get the perfect item, the Shell Bell. With my plan in place, it's time for the 6th gym leader, Skyla. She leads with a Swoobat and I lead with our newly evolved Judy. Not only can we not get attracted due to our gender, but we can also progressively raise our special attack with Charge Beam having a 50% chance to do so. So even though she did get a crit on her first assurance, we can progressively blow through all 3 of her Pokemon with increasing power and the Shell Bell giving us some recovery every single turn, ending the battle with over half health remaining. I think that's one of the single best gym leader strategies out there if I'm honest. 6 badges. Ironically enough, up near Twist Mountain, the exact same strat works wonders against Charon too, except this time I knew his Unpheasant was likely to scout out with Detect on its first turn, so I could Calm Mind until he used Taunt to make it even more effective, blowing through his team, hardly taking any damage in the end. No, Alder, don't do it! Why? Oh, he just wanted to give us the Surf HM. Now unfortunately Twist Mountain does have the metal coat, but this item's only available in the winter due to the structure. At least we can get the Flash Cannon TM though. Arrival in Icarus City has me appreciating this town more than ever, as I feel it's quite underrated, and the Pokemon Center here nets us a really good TM, Brick Break, which should be great for David. The Icarus City Gym, well, I'm sure you can imagine we have the perfect counter to the trainer's Pokemon in David, smashing them to pieces with Stab super effective Iron Head. Poor dudes. The 7th gym leader is Bryson, and it's the same situation as David pummels the hell out of his Pokemon. His Beartic can be dangerous having swagger, but we finally get our first damn Iron Head or Zen Headbutt flinch of the game, allowing us to KO him in 2 attacks, then smashing his Cryogonal in a single hit. Go David go. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a hat.
You're under arrest. No holiday song is permitted to be sung before the date of December 1st.
Up next, the Dragon Spiral Tower, and here we can do something really cool. You see, there are wild Golett here, and they each have a 5% chance to hold a light clay item, which extends the duration of Reflect and Light Screen. I end up teaching Jane Thief, and she also has the Frisk ability, so without even having to use the move, I can see if they're holding it in advance. So eventually we spot one and use Thief to steal it from them. Perfection. Against the Team Plasma Grunts here, Burton does a stellar job, now having Sharp Beak boosted Air Slash to work with, sweeping through most of the trainers with ease. Jane picked up any slack along the way and ends up fully evolving into a Gothitelle. I have never used one of these in my life, so I can't wait to see what it can do. At the peak of the tower stands N, doing some kinda nutty things, capturing a legendary Zekrom and whatnot. Sorry, that's the phrase that I wrote in my notes and I'm contractually obligated to use. Before we then make it to the Relic Castle. Not much to say here, Team Plasma TDM and whatnot, although we do find the Shadow Ball TM along the way. We then have our final battle with Bianca, and I wanted to test out Jane here with the Expert Belt attached now that she's fully evolved. She does do an incredible job with Psychic, taking down her Stoutland, Superior, and bringing her Simipour to the red before unfortunately getting too hurt. But a switch into Burton is able to handle the rest. Quite a duo those two are. That win has us enter the final gym city, Opelucid. Gets us. What a liar, desperately trying to con everyone with his speech. That's correct! It's time for the final gym, the Opelucid Dragon-type gym, and David again shows his stuff, resisting the type with Steel after all, and even after some of them Dragon Dance, he can just pick them off with Priority Bullet Punch to avoid any mishaps. Along the way, Fortuna ends up finally evolving into a Behem. Okay, this thing's gotta be one of the most forgotten Pokemon out there. Excited to try her out though. The 8th gym leader is Drayden, the Dragon Specialist, and his team can be scary, but is usually manageable if you know how to work with it. I send out Escher and panicked as I realized I forgot to teach Reflect after I replaced it for Fly. Oops. Regardless, I change my plan and go for Tailwind to raise our team's speed, then switch in Fortuna as his Fractured Dragon Dance twice, but then did so again, so Psychic decimates him in one hit. Alrighty then. Druddigon then gets outsped and slammed with it below half, then hits a Night Slash, but we survive on over half, and even after Tailwind goes down, we can land another for the KO. In comes his final Pokemon, Haxorus, and I know we can survive any move he has, so I hit him with Psychic, then he lands a negative priority Dragon Tail, and we survive on 23 HP before our Rocky Helmet hurts him. And now I send out Jane. With him then healing, we can nail him with 2 Psychics for the KO, taking a 3rd damage in the process. That went pretty smoothly given that my plan got shot down by my own idiocy. With all 8 badges, we can hit up Route 10 where Charon challenges us to a final battle and, well, with the level cap much higher than his levels, I powered up Burton a lot. And against his Unpheasant, could Calm Mind while he used Detect as anticipated, then outspeed and go for another, and then he just used Razor Wind from there so I could sweep through his entire team with a now hyperpowered and ridiculously fast bat. Go Burton go, you legend. With our final rival battle behind us, it's time to enter Victory Road. Reminiscent of Pokemon Red and Blue where you go through the really cool gym-themed gates, and does this remind anyone else of when Doctor Strange crosses through the multiverse? Along the way through Victory Road, we have our final evolution as David finally evolves into a monster Metagross. Now this thing should be fun to use. A long journey brings us to the summit where our final test awaits, the Pokemon League. After fulfilling the rest of our EVs and getting any remaining items and TMs that we need, it's time to challenge the Elite Four. The first Elite Four member is Chantal, the Ghost-type expert, quite a wildly threatening team for a Psychic team as you can imagine. It took a while to come up with a plan, but I think this should work. She leads with a Cophagrigus, so I send out Escher. I use Light Screen immediately with the Light Clay attached, allowing us to tank Shadow Ball well. I then hit her with Air Slash, doing less than half, then she goes for Grass Knot for some reason. Alrighty then. Here I switch into Swoobat and we can tank Shadow Ball on over half with the help of Light Screen. From there I go for Calm Mind to raise our special attack and special defense, and she uses Grass Knot again. What in the world? This allows me to get another off before Shadow Ball then hits us below a 3rd. From here, I know we're safe to go for one more as it raises our stats before she hits us, and then she uses Grass Knot again so we can land a Shadow Ball and instantly one-hit KO that thing. From there, with our huge stat buffs and our wicked speed, we can then proceed to one-hit KO every other member of her team with a superpowered Shadow Ball. A great start. The second Elite Four member is Grimsley, the Dark type specialist. Yup, 2 brutal types for us consecutively, but there's an interesting opening for us at the start, as his Scrafty is part fighting of course. Here I switched out Light Screen for Reflect on Escher, which I go for right away, and he hits a sand attack through Wonder Skin even. We hit an Air Slash regardless, and he barely survives on a Sliver and lands another sand attack. He then proceeds to heal over the next 2 turns, after which we can land a final attack to take him down. In comes Crocodile next though, with Intimidate, and this is why I wanted Escher out. He can take it, so now I can switch into David, who tanks the Dark type move with ease with the Reflect up. I know he'll outspeed, but our impish nature combined with Reflect lets us tank even Earthquake and land an Expert Bell boosted Brick Break to slam him. But he survives on like 1 HP, but now we can just use Priority Bullet Punch to outspeed and KO him. From there, his Bisharp, which would have otherwise been a brutal threat for our team, gets taken down by a 4 times damage Brick Break. Then in comes his final Pokemon, Liepard. He hits a Fake Out to bring us below half with a crit, then lands a Night Slash on the next turn, but no crit on that one, so Brick Break destroys it for the win. Up next is Caitlyn, a fellow Psychic type user and therefore our arch nemesis. Are you coming to bed, sweetheart? What the f? Anyway, her team is rough with lots of bulk and power, and almost everything has Shadow Ball too. She leads with Reuniclus, and I send out Escher. I go for Light Screen immediately, then she misses her Thunder. Beautiful. I get a switch into Jane now, who tanks the next Thunder quite well, but gets paralyzed. No way that just happened. I push on as she misses her next, then our own Shadow Ball gets a crit. Take that. In comes Musharna next, which just goes for Reflect before Shadow Ball hits it right to half. Then she outspeed and hits us with one for not much damage before we can return the favor and take her down. Next up is Sigilyph, and we get hit to 69 HP. Nice. Before Shadow Ball brings it all the way to the red. Knowing she'll heal and not wanting to risk a crit, I switch into Escher again for a Sigilyph Mirror Battle. Air Slash hits her hard, but no flinch, then Ice Beam is dangerous as Light Screen then goes down. We can outspeed and put it up again, after which Ice Beam hits us to 50 HP, and then I switch into Fortuna here. Fortuna absolutely eats up Ice Beam and then Shadow Ball on the next turn, after which our own Shadow Ball destroys her. Her final Pokemon is Gothitelle, and this thing was no match for Fortuna even after she used Calm Mind, as a few attacks do the job with us on 51 HP thanks to the help of our Citrus Berry. The last Elite Four member is Marshall, the fighting type expert, and you might assume that this would be easy, but he's got things like Sturdy, high crit ratio Stone Edge, and even Payback. It's hard to account for this team if I'm honest. Regardless, I come up with an interesting plan and go for it. He leaves with a throw, and I send out Judy. He hits us with Payback immediately, and gets a crit, not good, and we miss our Hypnosis too. Brutal. He then misses Stone Edge, but then we miss Hypnosis again. Payback then hits us to 65 HP, and we miss Hypnosis for a 3rd time in a row. But he misses Stone Edge again, so we can finally put him to sleep. From there, I can Moonlight freely to restore our health, and then proceed to Calm Mind twice. He then wakes up and hits a Payback before we can then respawn with a +2 Psybeam to decimate him. From there, his Mienshao hit us with a Jump Kick before going down to 1 as well, then in comes Sock. This was a ridiculous back and forth with him having Sturdy and continuously healing, but ultimately our Shell Bell was just increasing our HP all the while. So we eventually knocked him out. His final Pokemon is Conkeldurr, and he missed his Stone Edge, so a final attack ends the battle. Judy, that was amazing. Reaching the top of the Pokemon League, we find out that N has already devastated the champion, Alder. We then witness a Sage vs Gym Leader showdown, and oh god, I did it again, went the wrong way. Sorry guys, so embarrassing. With the end of a wild legendary face-off occurring in the throne room of N's castle, and us throwing Reshiram in the PC, it's time for the final battle, the one who defeated the champion, N himself. His team is ridiculous and took a lot of theory crafting to even get an idea of what to do with him leading with a damn Zekrom, but let's try this. I lead with Sigilyph against his legendary. Looks stupid, I know, but I can outspeed with Reflect and then he slams us with a Fusion Bolt, but we survive on 47 HP. I then make the switch into David, who tanks one well with the help of Reflect. I had retaught him the Bulldoze TM2, so with the Expert Belt it does about a third after he just used Light Screen, and more importantly it drops his speed. Now looking at the range, I don't want him to heal, so I go for Brick Break instead, which drops the Light Screen too. Another Fusion Bolt hits us, then we smash him with Bulldoze, and from that range it KOs. Let's go. In comes Kling Klang next, and I'm like, nah, that thing has nothing super effective against us. That has to be Zoroark, as it indeed hits Flamethrower and we survive on just 11 HP. Then hit a Brick Break for the illusion to break and the KO. But in comes the real Kling Klang, and I have like no way to deal with this thing as it resists Psychic. What I end up doing is switching into Judy, who tanks Thunderbolt well, and I end up putting him to sleep. He kept using Metal Sound to drop our special defense, but that's okay as I get 6 Calm Minds in a row, eventually being able to one-hit KO him with a resisted attack while almost taking no damage. Unreal. In comes Caracosta next, and it does have Sturdy unfortunately, as it hits us with Crunch, and does huge damage with a critical hit, and gets the defense drop. There is no way that just happened. Brutal luck, as the way it works out, I eventually have to leave Judy out there as I thought he had one more full restore, but he goes for Priority Aqua Jet to take her down for our first death. Ouch. We could have done that without the crit and stat drop on one attack. From there though, I can send out Jane for the Thunderbolt KO, the tanking of Archeops' Crunch in order to take it down with Thunderbolt as well, and then in comes a Vanillux. I switch into Fortuna for this, and they end up duking it out with Psychic and Blizzard, and Fortuna's Citrus Berry gave us the range through the hail to survive 2 Blizzards and take it down, winning us the battle. Amazing. It's not over yet though, as Getsus appears, enraged at our success apparently. This is the real final battle. He leaves with a Cophagrigus as we're forced into leading with Escher again. I go for Light Screen, and Shadow Ball does a third, and gets the special defense drop. Why? I have to switch now, so I go into Jane, who tanks 2 more Shadow Balls on half, and throws 2 of them his way for the KO. Bisharp comes out next, and the choice is obvious here. I switch into David to tank the Night Slash, then respawn with the 4 times damage Brick Break KO. So far, so good, but in comes Hydreigon next, devastating for a Psychic team. With Light Screen, I'm feeling okay, and this is our only shot at this, so I go for a Brick Break as he hits Fire Blast first, and not only hits it, but gets the burn. Why is our luck so bad? As our attack is now halved, and we only do a third. I have no choice now though, so I go for the Priority Bullet Punch, which would have killed him after 2, and we get very little damage before David goes down to a Surf. Here I switch in Burton and go for the Calm Mind, allowing us to tank a Dragon Pulse above half, then go for another as he hits us again. I go for the Air Slash now, and he barely survives on a sliver. We then get hit to just 15 HP, and because he heals, we hit him twice more, hoping desperately for a flinch on the second one, but we don't get it and Burton goes down. Sheesh. I then switch into Fortuna, and he hits the Dragon Pulse, and gets a crit, and we survive on just 6 HP. I have no words, I really don't, as we can finally take that thing down with a Charge Beam. From there though, we have to let Fortuna go to his Electros. With 2 Pokemon remaining, I'm not feeling great about this. I send out Escher, and I know what my only play is. I go for Reflect, then Wild Charge hits, and we survive on 21 HP as he gets Recoil. Oh. I then hit the Psychic to bring him below half before he takes Escher down with Flamethrower. It's time for our final Pokemon, Jane, who's able to outspeed him and take him down with Psychic, but in comes Bouffalont. I am desperately praying for what I hope might happen as Psychic does a third, then he hits a Head Charge, and we survive on 24 HP with the Reflect as he gets Recoil from the move and our Rocky Helmet too. This range is gonna be close as we land the Psychic, but he survives on a sliver and pulls off Wild Charge, which takes us both down with him first even, but he had a Seismitoad remaining, which we could have just outsped and Grass Knotted. Damn, unbelievably close. What a crazy run that was. From PowerPoint stalling in the beginning to making it to the very end with only 6 total encounters, I'm proud of that run, and we made it to what is technically a bonus final battle. That is a tough double though, I'll tell you that much. I hope you had fun with the run, and if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as it really does help a lot and grows our community. A huge thanks to my YouTube members and patrons who make these videos possible. If you'd like to support and get your name up here, the links are also down below. If you enjoyed, drop a like down below to help the video out, and leave a comment letting me know what kind of run we should do next, and I'll see you guys for our next challenge video.